Hi, my name is Melanie Regan, and I am the Associate Chair of Fine Arts here at St. James School. I am also the second form music teacher, and I co-teach second form drama with Nicole Ruark, who is our theater teacher. She is also directing our fall play this year at St. James, which is It's a Wonderful Life, and she is and has been our choreographer for our musicals the past several years. So I'm lucky enough to get to teach with her for the drama portion of this course, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later. First, a little bit about me. I went to St. James. I graduated from St. James after spending 6 years there. I was a first former. I graduated there in the year 2000 and then went to Music Conservatory to get my degrees in vocal performance. And after I received my master's degree, I was lured back to St. James to teach voice to the students here and assist in directing the musical and be the vocal coach for all of the shows. Several years ago, I took on the director cap and became music director of the musicals here. And I also became the lead second form music teacher, which is when I sort of developed the curriculum that we're using now, which I'm excited to tell you about. So I base this class on 3 areas. I want our students to learn about music history. I want our students to learn about music theory, and students to get comfortable reading music. So I try to split the course up into 3 very specific sections, and we cover a lot of area of music in a very short period of time. So every class we begin with sort of reviewing the music theory homework that we may have had. And then I like to listen to examples as a full group. And those music examples always, I try to have them correlate with what their reading is going to be on. So the texts that we use in this class are the Alfred Music Theory book. It's sort of starts at the very beginning. A lot of the students have already been exposed to music theory like this, and the first couple of chapters are review, and many haven't. So it's a really good book for us to use just to kind of see where our students are as young musicians. So we use the Alfred Music Theory book that we do all of our music theory homeworks in. And for our music history, we base our the composers that we study off of this fun little book called Bach, Beethoven, and the Boys, which is a fun, sort of sarcastic look at the great composers from the Western, music tradition. And it kind of dives into their personal lives and, of course, their compositions. But through that book, through those chapters, we read about the composers and then we listen to music examples. And so that book takes us from early music era and Renaissance era through Baroque era into the classical era, Romantic, and then we end the course talking about 20th century music. So it's mostly based on classical repertoire, but we do sometimes branch out and talk about folk music or jazz or pop music sometimes. But what's fun is that this is certainly not the music that most of the students in this class would choose to listen to. But by the end of the course, it's interesting because so many of the students have developed a real appreciation for who these composers are, the lives that they've lived, and the music that they wrote. So that's sort of my goal as far as giving the students this this book and these composers to study and learn about. Just so they have something that they can kind of connect with musically. So that's sort of the music history portion of the course. And like I said, we also do a music theory portion of the course, which by the end of the semester, we'll be getting into learning about chords and chord progressions and things like that. But mostly we're learning about key signatures and notes and note values. And then, of course, things like repeat signs and just all sorts of sort of basic music theory. And then being able to learn to sight read that. So I'm a singer, and I do like to teach ear training and sight singing together. So we spend a lot of time also working solfege. So all of your children have learned do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do, going up and down the scale. You may have even heard them in the background during some of your classes, some of their classes. So they learn solfege, and then they learn to identify the intervals between different solfege syllables. I have them learning about the sort of the different sounds between do to mi to so, and so then once they've learned to be a little bit more comfortable scale on solfege, then we look at sight singing examples. And at first, they're easy. I use a website called Sight Reading Factory, which gives little sight reading examples to the students, and they can practice it many, many times. I can see how much they practice. And then there's a recording option. And so that's how your children are doing their homeworks for the sight reading. They are practicing the sight singing examples, and then they push record, and I get to hear them attempting the sight singing example while singing on the solfege syllables. So it's a lot of multitasking, and they're doing a great job. I'm really, really proud of them. They've done a really great job so far with these examples. So sight reading homeworks always happen through Sight Reading Factory. The reading homeworks that I give them always correspond with the listening examples that I give them, and those are all in sort of a video log on Flipgrid. That's where those homeworks are submitted. And then the music theory work is done in the music theory book, and then submitted onto Microsoft Teams. I always will post the homework directions on Blackbaud. Blackbaud is where your children can go to see what they have to do and where they need to go to do it. But they've all gotten really good at navigating where to turn in their homework assignments. And I base my grading off of homework. It sounds like a lot of homework, but it's actually only about, I would say, 15 minutes of homework a couple times a week. So it's really not too much, but their grade is solely based on turning the work in. I actually don't we don't do corrections. That's not what gives them their grade. Their grade is based on participation and trying. And then as a class, we look at the homeworks together, and we correct things together. So it's really about learning and about new experiences with music, and just getting to know something that they wouldn't necessarily have explored without being in a course like this. So real quick, I'm going to tell you now about our drama portion of the course. The drama portion of the course meets once a week, sometimes 2 times a week. And this year, we are doing a virtual sort of vignette version of the 12 Days of Christmas. So the students are split up into 12 different groups, and we have a partridge, we have our 2 turtle doves, we have our 3 French hens, and some of the little vignettes are like monologues or acting or little tiny scenes that your children have written. And some of them are songs, and some of them are dances. So this big project we are working on through this whole fall season, and we will record it so that it is ready to be streamed to you this December, just in time for Christmas. So I hope I've given you some information that that you can use to sort of understand what our music and drama course is like for your kids with us. We love working with them, and thank you for taking the time to hear about this course. Have a good day.